So we have a video that Ring of Fire just put out with Mr. Farron Cousins, and it's titled "Trump's Biggest Problem is that he thinks everyone is as stupid as he is." And it's not really jam-packed, informative video. It's just clickbait mostly, but let's see what he has to say anyway.
Donald Trump has a lot of problems. And I don't just mean the investigations going on or the treason he committed earlier this week. I mean personally, as a human being. The guy's got a lot of problems. And the more and more I think about it, the more I realize that most of his problems as a human being stem from one simple fact. Donald Trump is a stupid person, and stupid people like Donald Trump seem to believe that everyone else is as stupid as they are.
So we know in the 1980s that Trump actually wasn't worth all that much. Because remember he was inflating his net worth to try to make him look like he was worth more than he was. Um, but today, I think all the consensus is that he's worth at least $1 billion. And yeah, I mean, I know he got a good start from Daddy, but there are lots of people who get starts like that and they don't make $1 billion. So you can disagree with him on policy issues, and I have my own disagreements with President Trump. But I think just to say he's stupid is, you know, whatever. I don't think it adds much to the discourse.
Here's what I mean, okay? Earlier this week, Donald Trump meets with Putin in Helsinki where he says, "I side with you, good buddy, over every single person in the United States."
That's a bit of a stretch there. He sided with Putin against the American intelligence apparatus, not necessarily against every single person in America. So, Farron, how'd our intelligence network do back in 2003 with the whole Iraq thing? Did they were they spot on back then? Did you say, well, the intelligence says he's got weapons, so he must, right? So look, both sides have their agenda, and when the intelligence community agrees with them, they hold that banner up, and when the intelligence community doesn't agree with them, you know, they ignore it. Is the intelligence community always right? No.
The next day, he backtracks on that, and suddenly some people, some conservatives only, say, "Oh, well, he just misspoke. Yeah, he was right. Okay, I'll take his word for it." See, that is stupid that those people did that. But the reason Donald Trump goes out there and thinks that he can backpedal like that when we all saw the footage is because he thinks everybody is as dumb as he is. The reason he goes out there and he tweets witch hunt, fake news, blah, 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 things that we know aren't true, is because he believes the American public is as dumb as he is.
I mean, every administration has posturing. They all try to present their view of the news and the events in a light most favorable to them. All administrations kind of do that and embellish a little bit and, try to make things look good on their behalf. They all do that. But I don't remember an administration being under direct assault by pretty much all the mainstream media, you know, constantly. Um, it got pretty bad there in that second term of George W. Bush, but it never got this bad where the media is just openly declaring itself an enemy of President Trump, just casting aside any notion of impartiality and just, attacking constantly. And me and millions of other Americans are still not convinced that the Mueller probe is not really a witch hunt. Oh, okay. So we got to see how corrupt the DNC was because some hackers stole their, emails and then broadcasted that stuff. Meanwhile, while that stuff was coming out, everyone was saying, nothing to see here. No big deal. John Podesta's recipe book. And if that's really what this probe is about, how much money we're spending on this, I don't know, but I don't think it's worth it.
That's what is at the heart of all of this. That is how con men operate. Con men cannot be successful without at least a level of ignorance on behalf of the people they are conning. And Donald Trump, a man who's conned his way through his entire life, goes around with a belief that everyone is more ignorant than he is, and that it's only a matter of time before he's able to take advantage of them. And even though a majority of people in this country did not vote for Donald Trump to be president, he did manage to con, tens of millions of people into voting for him, enough to secure the Electoral College victory that he needed.
Yeah, I don't follow here. So you're saying he's dumber than everybody, but he's still able to con people because he believes that they're as dumb as him, but they're really not. So I don't know where you're going with that one.
But since becoming president, he's kind of dropped the veil a bit. He's shown just how ignorant he truly is on issues ranging from foreign policy to domestic policy, immigration policy, economics, his trade war. And at the same time that he's destroying all of these things, he's telling us, no, they're better than ever. Things are great. Don't worry about the massive fire out there, both figuratively and literally, because the state of Colorado is on fire right now, in case you didn't know it. And some people believe him. Some people are as dumb as him, or God forbid, even dumber. But Donald Trump's problems stem from the fact that as he isn't an intelligent human being, he believes that everyone else is at his level and that no one is above it. It is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Essentially, Donald Trump is so incompetent that he's not even capable of comprehending how incompetent he is. Only he's taken it a step forward. Because he is incompetent, he also believes that everyone else is incompetent. That is actually one of the reasons he's managed to go this far in life. By treating people like they're stupid, by repeating lies often enough that they eventually just give up and either ignore what he says or they just start believing it.
Yeah, so I'm still confused. So he's really unintelligent and he says really unintelligent things, and everybody knows that they're unintelligent. But because he keeps saying them, people believe it. Okay. Is maybe that's like the Roe versus Wade effect. If we just keep on saying something's in the Constitution long enough and often enough, and eventually people will think it's really there.
He's conned too many people. And I think it's time that we understand that the only way he's able to do that is by bringing people intellectually down to his level of stupid. The only way to fight back against a person like this is intelligence, educating yourself, going out there and reading what's actually happening in the world. I know that's not something many Trump supporters are even willing to do, but if we can reach a couple every now and then, we might actually be able to take down Donald Trump without having to depend on people like Robert Mueller or the New York Attorney General or any of these investigations. We could beat him at the ballot box if people can wise up just a little bit.
Look, if you want to beat Trump at the ballot box, you're going about this the wrong way. This is exactly what happened in 2016. Do you remember when they said, oh, all the deplorable Americans, when Hillary Clinton and her side basically wrote off all Trump supporters and said they're bigots, they're racists, they're idiots, they're morons, whatever, we don't need them. And what happened? You guys couldn't even run a competent campaign on easy mode. You guys couldn't even turn out the vote in Wisconsin. You couldn't hold states that have been Democratic for decades. If you want to beat Trump at the ballot box, pay attention here. Stop talking about Russia. Don't say another word about Russia. Please don't. Because in the real world, out there in the workforce, people are just trying to get by, and Russia has nothing to do with that. If people feel like they're in an economically secure place, then they don't care about stuff like that. and stop making the racist, xenophobic. Stop doing all that. You lost in 2016 with that. Like, oh my gosh, Trump says this, he says that. Oh, he said this politically incorrect thing. He said this. Oh, we're so offended by it. Oh, how could he say that? Yeah, you tried that playbook, and how did it work out for you? Again, you couldn't hold states that have been Democratic for years, decades, and you lost them. Because at the end of the day, if people feel like they're getting screwed by the economy, they're not going to be happy. And at the end of the day, if people feel like the economy is working for them, then they feel comfortable. So go out and tell people what you're going to do that's going to make things better in America, better for the working class. But you're not really doing that. The Democratic Party is not really doing that. A few candidates are, but all in all, most of them are not. I should be hearing on a daily basis from the DNC about a healthcare plan, a real healthcare plan, about a living wage, about federal jobs programs, about making college more affordable. I don't hear any of that. I don't hear any of that coming from the left. I hear Russia and I hear, oh my gosh, Trump said this. He said that. He thinks this. That's all I hear. Vladimir Putin, let me tell you, people out there just trying to get by are not sitting at home thinking about Vladimir Putin and how much influence he has on the president, whether he's got a PP tape of the president. But you see, the Democratic Party doesn't want to talk about the things I just laid out, about a living wage, about a real health care plan, about real reforms that are going to help the lives of millions of Americans, because they don't really want to do any of those things. They don't, because at the top, they're controlled in large part by the same interests that control the Republican Party. And if they think they can beat Donald Trump just on these type of Russia, uh, immigration, and these other kind of issues, and they don't have to make any promises to the American people about real reform in the economy, that's what they're going to try. They did it in 2016. They tried to beat Donald Trump. Well, that's not, we don't want to make any promises on health care. We don't want to tell people how we're going to fix Social Security, make it a real pension. We don't want to talk about expanding Medicare for everybody. We can just call that stuff pie in the sky, forget about it. Russia, Trump said this, grab them by the you know what. What else? Oh, his businesses went bankrupt a couple times. He outsources his own jobs. What else? Stormy Daniels. Oh, yeah, Stormy Daniels. Vladimir Putin. He's too close to Putin. Putin's got a PP tape. What are we going to do? Scott Pruitt. Oh, let's talk about Scott Pruitt. So corrupt. He's wasted money on things. What else? Oh, he doesn't like Maxine Waters. He says she has a low IQ. She's a black woman, therefore he must be racist. Oh my gosh. And look, I know Democratic Party. I know you really tried hard into 2016. You thought you could beat him without having to make any promises for any real change just because, of these ancillary things. It didn't work. And you think, well, let's try the same playbook all over again. Let's not promise the American people anything that's going to make any of their lives better in any meaningful way. Let's just talk about what a bad guy Donald Trump is and how terrible anybody who voted for him is. Make them the enemy. If you want to win again in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, you need to offer these people something, okay? Not these tabloid headline kind of nonsense that has no bearing on anything remotely connected to their life. We should have a Democratic Party unified behind universal health care, 100% not taking no for an answer. They should be unified behind a living wage. There should be a proposal out. It should be nearly universally accepted. There you go. They need a college plan. What are we going to do about this student debt? Are we just going to sit by and wait for it to blow up the economy? And I understand the that there's a problem with that. And one of the problem with that is that in 2008, Obama said a lot of these things, and the Democratic Party made it seem like they were really going to work and fight for a lot of these things. And as soon as they got in power, they sold it all out to the big money interests who control both parties. And yeah, a lot of people were upset. Hey, I voted for Obama. He was supposed to fix all this. He hasn't fixed it much of anything, because for all the inroads he made and all the things that he was able to accomplish, it fell far short of what he promised and what we were told to expect. We were told to expect a new economy, fundamentally change the way the American economy worked. They sold the American people on a fireworks show, and they came out with a firecracker and told everybody to go home. And if you want to win, if you want to beat Trump, you have to not only promise those things again, you have to have a plan to actually deliver them.